The raining season had just begun in the bustling city of Lagos. The road was alive with the sound of impatient drivers, roadside traders shouting for customers, and the smell of roasted corn mixed with the fresh scent of rain. It was another ordinary Monday morning, but for one young man, it was the beginning of a journey that would change his life forever. 28 years old Dafe was known by everyone around him as a genuinely good man. He was handsome, without trying to be intelligent, without arrogance, and successful without making others feel inferior. He worked as a senior architect in one of the biggest construction firms in the city, earning enough to live comfortably while helping his widowed mother and younger sister. His father had died when Daffy was only 14 years old. From that day, he became the man of the house. Life had never been easy, but he kept on pushing and working hard. Those years shaped him. He promised himself that if God ever blessed him financially, he would never look down on anyone. Years later, God answered those prayers. Daphne now lived in a beautiful apartment, drove a modest SUV, and was respected at work. Yet there was one thing missing: love. His mother reminded him almost every Sunday after church when he goes to see her. "My son," she smiled as she served him pounded yam. "You are almost 30. Oh. Don't you think it's time I started carrying grandchildren?" Daffy laughed. "Mommy, is marriage food? It will happen when God says it should." She shook her head. "God has already spoken now. You are the one refusing to listen." His younger sister joined the teasing. "Me, I've already picked family color." Daffy rolled his eyes. "You people won't let me rest." Everyone laughed. Despite the jokes, Dafe secretly desired marriage. He wanted a wife who would become his best friend, someone who would pray with him, someone he could build a family with, someone who loved him, not because of his money, but because of his heart. Little did he know he was about to mistake admiration for love. 3 weeks later, Daffy's longtime friend Sean celebrated his 30th birthday at a beautiful rooftop lounge overlooking the city. Music filled the air, people laughed, photographers moved from table to table taking pictures. Daffy almost didn't attend because of his work, but Sean practically dragged him there. "If you miss this my party, Sean warned over the phone, "our friendship is over." Daffy laughed. "Don't worry, I'll come, Joe." When he arrived, he greeted familiar faces before sitting quietly in a corner. Unlike many guests, Daffy hated being the center of attention. He preferred observing people. As he sipped a glass of juice, the elevator door opened. A young woman stepped out wearing a simple green dress, yet everyone noticed her. She walked with confidence. A smile lit up the room. Her long braided hair rested gently on her shoulders. Daffy forgot the conversation he was having. His eyes remained fixed on her. Sean noticed. "Guy." Daffy didn't answer. "You have not blinked for almost 1 minute, oh my guy." Still nothing. Sean laughed loudly. "So this is how love begins." Daffy finally spoke. Who is she?" "I knew it. Tell me now, who is she?" "Her name is Vivian." Daffy repeated it quietly. "Vivian. She's one of my cousin's friend." Daffy couldn't explain what he was feeling. It wasn't just attraction. Something about her made his heart race. For the first time in years, he wanted to know someone. Later that evening, Sean introduced them. "Vivian, meet my friend Daffy." She smiled politely. "Nice to meet you." "You too." There was an awkward silence. Daffy suddenly forgot every intelligent sentence he had rehearsed in his mind. Vivian broke the silence. So you're the famous Dafe Sean always talks about. Dafe laughed nervously. I hope he says good things about me though. Mostly, they both laughed. The conversation lasted barely 5 minutes before another friend interrupted. Yet, those 5 minutes were enough. Dafe drove home smiling. That night, he couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Vivian's face. Meanwhile, across town, Vivian entered a luxurious apartment. She threw her handbag onto the couch. A man's voice came from the kitchen. You're back? She smiled warmly. I'm exhausted. The man kissed her forehead. You stayed longer than expected. I attended the birthday, Jerry. Did you enjoy yourself? Yeah, very much. The man hugged her. His name was Adam, a successful businessman, confident, handsome, ambitious. They had been dating for almost 3 years. Although Adam loved Vivian in his own way, he avoided conversations about marriage. Whenever she asked, he changed the topic. Whenever she complained, he promised, soon, soon, babe. Soon became months. Months became years. Vivian was tired of waiting. She loved Adam, but she also feared wasting the best years of her life. She wanted security. She wanted certainty. She wanted someone who would choose her without hesitation. She had no idea that someone had already begun choosing her. The following Sunday after church, Daffy was buying fruit from a roadside stand. As he turned around, he almost bumped into Vivian. Oh, I'm so sorry. She laughed. Daffy. He smiled. What a coincidence. I never knew you attended this church. I've been here for years. So have I. They both laughed. Daffy offered to buy her fresh fruit. She accepted, and juice. She also accepted. They sat under a nearby canopy, talking for nearly an hour. They spoke about family, work, dreams, faith, childhood memories. Vivian discovered Daffy was incredibly easy to talk to. Daffy discovered she loved photography. Before leaving, he asked carefully, can I have your number? She hesitated for a brief second, then smiled. Of course. Daffy tried not to look too excited. Inside, he felt like shouting. The call started innocently. Good morning. Have you eaten? How was work? Within weeks, they became part of each other's daily routine. Daffy looked forward to hearing her voice every evening. Whenever Vivian mentioned liking something, Daffy remembered. One day, she casually admired a wristwatch in a shopping mall. The following week, Daffy surprised her with it. You remembered? Yeah, you said you liked it now. She smiled. Thank you. She genuinely appreciated his kindness, but appreciation was not love. Inside Daffy's company worked another young woman. Her name was Zikora. She had joined the firm almost a year earlier as a project coordinator. Zikora wasn't the loudest person in the office. She wasn't the most glamorous either, but everyone admired her calm spirit. She respected everyone, from the cleaners to the managing director. She believed character mattered more than appearance. Months earlier, before Vivian ever appeared, Zikora had quietly developed feelings for Daffy, not because of his salary, not because of his car, but because she watched him buy lunch for the office security guards every Friday without telling anyone. She watched him pay hospital bills for a cleaner whose child needed surgery. She watched him stay late helping junior staff finish projects instead of going home. She admired the man no one else seemed to notice. Yet, she kept her feeling private. She feared rejection. Instead, she became his friend. Every morning she greeted him with a smile. Every birthday she baked him a homemade cake. Whenever he looked stressed, she quietly left coffee on his desk with a sticky note. "You'll figure it out. You are overcoming bigger challenges." Daffy appreciated her kindness. He truly did, but in his heart, she was simply a good friend. One Friday afternoon, Daffy walked into the office cafeteria wearing a smile so wide that even the receptionist noticed. Zikora laughed. "You look unusually happy today." Daffy sat opposite her. "I met someone." Zikora's smile froze for a split second. "Oh, I think she's different." Zikora forced another smile. "Oh, really?" Daphne nodded excitedly. "I can't explain it, but every time I'm around her, everything feels right." Zikora stirred her tea quietly. "What? What's her name?" "Vivian." Zikora swallowed the lump in her mouth. "I'm happy for you, Daffy." Daffy smiled. "I knew you'd be." That evening, Zikora got into her car, closed the door, and for the first time in years, she cried. Not because Daffy had done anything wrong, but because she realized the man she had silently prayed for was already falling in love with someone else. Weeks turned into months, and Daffy became even more devoted to Vivian. He loved her with everything he had. Every morning began with a text to her, and every night ended with a prayer that one day she would become his wife. He paid for her fashion business, surprised her with gifts on random days, and never missed an opportunity to make her smile. To Daffy, Vivian was his future. To Vivian, Daffy was simply a good man who made life easier. Whenever Adam became distant or too busy to spend time with her, she would run to Daffy for comfort. Daffy never questioned it. He believed she was simply overwhelmed with work. Meanwhile, Zikora watched everything from a distance. Every day, she saw Daffy pouring his heart into someone who barely appreciated him. She wanted to tell him the truth, that love should never feel one-sided. But she feared he would think she was only jealous. Instead, she continued being his friend. When Daffy skipped lunch because of work, Zikora quietly placed food on his desk. When he struggled with a difficult project, she stayed late to help him finish. When his mother fell ill, Zikora visited the hospital after work with fruits and medications, refusing to let Daffy know she had paid part of the hospital bill. Daffy thanked her sincerely. "You have always been a wonderful friend, Zikora." The word friend pierced her heart every single time. One afternoon, Vivian invited Daffy to lunch. He arrived at the restaurant 30 minutes earlier, hoping to surprise her. As he walked toward the entrance, he stopped. There sat Vivian. Across from her was another man. They were laughing together. Daffy smiled to himself. She must be having a business meeting. Just as he turned to leave, the man reached across the table and held Vivian's hand. Moments later, she leaned forward and kissed him. Daffy felt the ground disappear beneath his feet. He couldn't breathe. His hands trembled as he watched the woman he had loved with all his heart, smiling at another man the way she had never smiled at him. He walked away before they could see him. That evening, Vivian called him several times, pretending nothing had happened. Daffy finally answered, "We need to talk." They met at a quiet park. Without anger, Daffy asked, "How long have you been with him?" Vivian lowered her eyes. "For 3 years." Daffy stared at her in disbelief. 3 years? Then what was I To you? She sighed heavily. "Hmm. A good man, Daffy. You treated me well, but you never loved me." Silence. "I tried," she whispered. "I really did. But my heart has always belonged to Adam." Daffy felt tears burning his eyes. So every "I love you" was a lie. Vivian couldn't answer. She simply stood up. "I'm sorry, Daffy." Then she walked away. Daffy remained on the bench long after the sun had set. For the first time in years, he cried openly, not because he had lost Vivian, but because he realized he had spent so much time chasing someone who never chose him. The days that followed were difficult. Daffy buried himself in work and avoided everyone. Zikora noticed the pain in his eyes. She wanted to comfort him one last time, but something inside her had changed. She had spent too many months hoping he would see her. She was tired. A week later, Zikora informed Daffy that she had accepted a job offer in another city. "I'm leaving on Friday," she said softly. Daffy looked surprised. "So suddenly?" She smiled sadly. "Sometimes the hardest thing to do is also the healthiest." Daffy hugged her. "I'm really going to miss you." She smiled through her tears. "I'll miss you too." But deep inside, she knew she wasn't just leaving the city. She was leaving behind a love that had never been returned. Months later, Zikora settled into her new job, where she met a kind, respectful man named Michael. He admired her, listened to her, and made his intentions clear from the beginning. For the first time, Zikora experienced what it felt like to be someone's first choice. Back in Lagos, Daffy slowly healed. One evening, while cleaning his apartment, he found a small box containing every handwritten note Zikora had ever left on his desk. "Don't give up. You inspire more people than you know. Have a wonderful day." He sat quietly, reading each one. Only then did he realize something painful. The woman who had loved him wasn't the one he had chased. She was the one who had quietly stood beside him all along. Filled with regret, Daffy called Zikora. Her number was no longer in service. He contacted an old colleague and finally received a new number. When Zikora answered, they spoke for a few minutes. Daffy apologized for taking her kindness for granted. Then he confessed, "I think I was looking at the wrong person all along." Zikora smiled sadly on the other end of the phone. I waited a long time to hear those words. Daffy's heart filled with hope. "Does that mean we still have a chance?" There was a brief silence. Then Zikora replied gently, "No, Daffy." He closed his eyes. "I'm getting married next month." Those words hit him harder than Vivian's betrayal ever had. Zikora continued, "Michael didn't make me wonder where I stood in his life. He chose me from the beginning. I deserve that kind of love." Daffy wiped away a tear. "You are right, Zikora. I'll always be grateful for our friendship." Zikora said, "I truly hope that one day you will find someone who chooses you the way you once chased someone else." After the call ended, Daffy sat alone in his apartment. He wasn't angry. He wasn't bitter. He simply understood. Sometimes life doesn't punish us by giving us the wrong person. Sometimes it teaches us a painful lesson by allowing us to overlook the right one. Months later, Daffy attended Zikora's wedding as a guest. When she walked down the aisle with a smile brighter than he had ever seen, he stood and applauded with everyone. As he watched Michael gently take her hand, Dafe whispered to himself, I pray I never ignore a genuine heart again. Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord completely. Do not think that you understand things well enough for yourself. Whatever you are doing, remember that the Lord is with you. Then he will show you the right way to go.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. I hope it was impactful. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Tale Nova Africa for more videos. Bye.